The screams started at exactly 2:17 a.m. They were loud, sharp, full of fear. Every inmate in NECC Missouri Prison froze in their beds. Some covered their ears. Some whispered prayers. Others did not move at all because moving could make things worse. The screams came from cell block D. Everyone knew what that meant. When screams came from cell block D, someone was not coming back. A guard shouted orders down the hallway. Boots ran fast across the floor. Metal doors slammed. Keys shook. The lights flickered once, then went dark for 3 seconds. Those 3 seconds felt like forever. In the darkness, an inmate whispered, "Please, not tonight." Then came a deep, painful sound. Not a scream. A thud. After that, there was silence. The kind of silence that tells you something very bad has just happened. And that is why inmates fear NECC Missouri Prison. But how did it get this way? Why do grown men shake at night? Why does one prison make even the toughest inmates afraid? To understand the fear, we must go back to the beginning. Earlier that year, NECC Missouri Prison sat far from big cities. It was surrounded by open land and long roads. From the outside, it looked calm, quiet, almost boring. Tall fences, gray buildings, watchtowers. Nothing special. But inmates knew the truth. Once inside, NECC was different. This was not a place where time just passed. This was a place where time hunted you. Meet Daniel Brooks. Daniel Brooks arrived on a cold morning. He was 22 years old. Too young to be here. Too scared to admit it. He was not a big guy. He was not tough-looking. He had short hair, tired eyes, and hands that shook when he was nervous. Daniel was sent to NECC for a crime he barely liked to talk about. A bad choice. A bad night. One mistake that changed everything. As the prison bus stopped, Daniel felt his chest tighten. The gates opened slowly. A loud buzzer sounded. And just like that, Daniel stepped into NECC Missouri Prison. First warning. The first thing Daniel noticed was the noise. Not loud noise. Quiet noise. Whispers. Metal clinks. Shoes scraping floors. Distant shouting that echoed through walls. A guard shouted, "Eyes forward." No talking. Daniel obeyed. As he walked, an older inmate beside him leaned close and whispered fast. Rule 1. Don't ask questions here. Daniel swallowed. The man continued. Rule 2. Don't trust anyone. Not inmates. Not guards. Daniel nodded. Then the man stopped walking. He looked Daniel in the eyes and said quietly, Rule 3. If you hear screaming at night, don't look. Before Daniel could ask why, the man was pushed forward. That was Daniel's first warning. Cell Block C. Daniel was placed in Cell Block C. It smelled like sweat and old metal. His cell was small. 2 beds. 1 toilet. 1 sink. His cellmate was already there. A tall man with a scar on his face. He looked up and stared at Daniel for a long time. Too long. Finally, he said, "You're new." Daniel nodded. The man laughed softly. Thought so. You still got that look. What look? Daniel asked. Hope, the man said. It'll leave soon. That night, Daniel lay awake. He listened. He waited. At 1 a.m., someone started crying. At 1:30 a.m., someone started yelling. At 2 a.m., everything went quiet. Then, at 2:17 a.m., Daniel heard screaming. The first screams. Daniel sat up in bed. The scream was close. Too close. It came again. Louder. His heart raced. His cellmate did not move. Daniel whispered, "What's happening?" The cellmate spoke without opening his eyes. "Go back to sleep." But I said sleep. Then the scream stopped. Daniel did not sleep at all that night. The next morning, 1 bed in cell block D was empty. No explanation. No questions allowed. Learning the rules. Days passed. Daniel learned fast. He learned when to speak and when to stay quiet. He learned which guards looked away. He learned which inmates ran things. And he learned about cell block D. No one talked about it openly, but everyone feared it. Cell block D was where trouble went. where problems disappeared, where screams were born. The guard named Harris. One guard stood out. Officer Harris. He was tall, strong, cold eyes. He walked slower than the others, like he had nowhere else to be. When Harris walked by, inmates stopped talking. Daniel once saw Harris drag an inmate by the arm. The man begged. "I didn't do anything." Harris smiled and said, "That's what they all say." The man was taken to cell block D. Daniel never saw him again. A small mistake. One afternoon, Daniel made a mistake. A small one. He stood in the wrong line during lunch. Officer Harris noticed. He walked over slowly. "You lost?" Harris asked. Daniel shook his head. "No, sir. Harris leaned close. "You think rules don't matter here?" "No, sir." Harris stared at him for a long moment. Then he smiled. "Good. You'll learn." That night, Daniel felt sick. He could not explain why. Whispers of fear. Later that week, Daniel spoke to another inmate during work duty. The man was older, gray hair, quiet voice. Daniel asked, "Why is everyone so scared of this place?" The man looked around first. Then he whispered, "Because NECC breaks people." "How?" "Slowly," the man said. "Or fast. Depends." Daniel felt cold. The man added, "Some prisons punish your body. This one punishes your mind." The list. One evening, Daniel noticed something strange. A list taped inside a locker. Names. Some were crossed out. Daniel pointed to it. "What's that?" An inmate pulled his hand away fast. "Don't touch that." "What is it?" The inmate swallowed. "People who went to D." Daniel looked again. One name stood out. The man who warned him on the bus. The name was crossed out. Hard. The second night. A week later, it happened again. 2:17 a.m. Screams. Louder than before. Closer than before. Daniel sat up. This time his cellmate sat up too. "That's bad," the man muttered. "What is?" Daniel asked. The cellmate listened carefully. Then his face changed. "Oh no," he whispered. "That's real bad." The screams turned into shouting. Then came the sound of metal hitting metal. Then boots running. Then the lights went out. In the darkness, Daniel heard a voice scream his name. "Brooks." Daniel froze. That voice came from the hallway. From outside his cell. From Officer Harris. Keys rattled. The lock on Daniel's cell door began to turn. And that was when Daniel realized something terrible. NECC Missouri Prison wasn't just scary. It was hunting him. The cell door opened with a loud clang. Officer Harris stood there. The hallway light shined behind him, making his face look dark and sharp. His shadows stretched across the floor like something alive. "Out," Harris said. Daniel's legs would not move. His cellmate whispered, "Do what he says." Daniel stood up slowly. His hands were shaking. Harris grabbed Daniel's arm hard and pulled him into the hallway. The metal door slammed shut behind him. The sound echoed. Other cell doors stayed closed. No one helped. No one spoke. That was the rule. The walk. They walked down the hallway. Step, step, step. Harris did not rush. He liked this part. Daniel tried to remember his breathing. In, out, in, out. "Where are we going?" Daniel asked quietly. Harris laughed. "You know where." Daniel's stomach dropped. Cell block D. They passed guards who looked away. One guard made eye contact with Daniel for half a second, then turned his head. Daniel understood then. This was allowed. The door to D. Cell block D had a different door. Thicker. Darker. It had scratches all over it, like someone had tried to claw their way out. Harris pressed a button.